Myth number 7, breathe deeply into your abdomen. Hi, Mama.
Hi everyone.
5 minutes. I'm putting on the clock for us here. What do you not like about that very commonly taught idea in yoga to breathe into the belly or belly breathing?
First of all, shocking comment, there are no lungs in your belly. The diaphragm divides the lungs and heart and other organs like the thyroid gland and others, but mainly the heart and lungs from the abdomen, which is a completely different cavity in the body. And so to say to breathe into your belly really makes no sense. And the concept of calling it diaphragmatic breathing kind of makes me laugh because what is non-diaphragmatic breathing? You have to have a diaphragm and it has to move and contract. Uh, and the reason it does is because the lungs themselves are not opening themselves. We can say the lungs are opening like they're actors, but they're total receivers in the respiratory tract. So, what happens when the diaphragm drops down, the pressure drops in the lungs, and there's a coordinating movement from your nervous system that lifts the ribs up, and the lungs go with the ribs, and they expand because they're being filled with air passively. And then when the breath is finished and you're exhaling, the ribs drop down slowly. It's forcibly when you run. You know how when you run, like that, and the diaphragm goes up, but the lungs are constantly receiving instructions that passively cause them to lift open and come back together. So if you want to increase your breath in pranayama or in running or physical activities, what's got to happen is the intercostals of the intercostal means between the ribs. Those muscles have to contract to lift the rib cage out to the side in the back, and the breastbone and the rib cage slides up and open in inhalation. The lungs do not create it, the ribs create the breath.
Okay, so I do hear you saying, though, that the belly passively receives and moves in and out with each breath,
A
correct?
tiny bit, because the diaphragm is pushing down. So let's look at you do this kind of breathing that I like so much.
All right,
Let's
let
look
me
at
move to
you.
the mat. What I
Yes.
also heard you say is that you prefer yogis to focus on moving our ribs as opposed to moving our belly when we want to breathe.
All right. So put your hands on the side of your ribs. You can all try this with us, about midway up, not the lowest ribs, about a little, yeah, right there. I like that. Now just breathe, quote unquote, belly breath into your belly. You don't feel much movement in your ribs at all, do you?
Zero, yeah.
There, well, a little tiny bit, but the that doesn't allow the lungs to really inflate. Now I want you to pacify your abdomen in, and when you inhale, I want you to think of moving your ribs out and up. See how her rib cage opens? Now, and slowly exhale. How does that feel to you?
Like a bigger, deeper, broader breath.
Okay, so let's do another breath. Think inhale, lift the side ribs. Imagine breathing into the back lungs and then fill the space below the breastbone. And the opposite now, breastbone, back ribs, side ribs. How does that feel?
Quieting.
I'm sorry?
Quieting to my nervous system.
Quieting to your nervous system. So remember that there are no lungs in the abdomen. Come back and join us now, Lizzie. So whether you do lying pranayama or seated pranayama, breathe from your ribs and let your lungs follow.
So nice. And she even finished with 42 seconds to spare. Thank you so much, Mama.
Thank you all so much. Namaste.